news on a rail strike in Canada and how that will impact the agriculture industry here in the U.S., plus updates to the Arkansas Water Plan, and a lot more on today's episode of the Arkansas AgCast, which starts right now.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
Howdy, gents.
Hey.
Happy Thursday. I've never tried a radio voice. Maybe I should do that.
You should.
Yeah. We're one day close to the weekend.
And I'm Jason Brown with 98.5. Yeah.
What they used to say, you're puking your words or something like that. Hi, this is the Arkansas AgCast. I don't think I should do that anymore. I'm sorry.
I kept score for Legion Baseball one summer, and in the same room was the radio broadcaster there in Stuttgart. So I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Well, look at me now,
cool.
You know.
Look at you broadcasting.
Yeah, I made it.
Broadcasting.
But yeah, there's clearly a difference in voice inflection.
Those people don't turn it off either. You'll run into them, you know, in a meeting or see them out in public or whatever. And they're still doing that. I'm like, hey, buddy, you can, you know, we're at Kroger.
Hey,
you can turn that off.
You will keep the quality standard at all times. I don't blame you.
Constantly.
What about, surely y'all have, you guys will know what I'm talking about. If not, you'll laugh at me like you normally do. But what about, can anybody remember a radio personality, you know, from their childhood or upbringing that you saw for the first time and were like, whoa, no, that doesn't really go together?
Well, the halfway through your question, I was thinking of Howard Stern. But yeah, when I saw him, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what Howard Stern is.
Oh, really? That's funny.
But no, I know what you mean. I have the same issue with football players when you see them without their shoulder pads and helmets on for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, you're as big as I thought you were.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's kind of the same thing. I just know, you know, I guess so. Maybe social media more than anything. But like you grow up listening to this. I grew up close to Memphis and a radio station morning show that I listened to all the time. And, you know, I'm old. We didn't really have the internet when I was in high school listening to the show or whatever. I guess we did, but not everybody had web pages and whatever. And I remember the first time I saw these two guys that did the morning show. I'm like, golly, that is not what I had going on up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All kinds of radio personalities and like Casey Kasem.
Oh,
Casey Kasem.
First time I saw Casey Kasem, like, that's not at all what I thought you'd look like.
Yeah.
The particular sports radio channel here in town.
I know the one you're talking about.
There's a few people on that show, or several with their shows throughout the day that I did not expect them to look the way they did. Not to mean in a negative way, just like not what I thought.
That after, I'm thinking specifically of the afternoon drive time show, though. Neither one of those guys, and I guess there's three maybe, or I don't know, it's been a while, but anyway, yeah. That's the point. And, you know, there is the old joke, like, I have a face for radio, which we do.
I would agree.
God, I try to lump you in. You beat me to it. Unfortunately, though, this audio broadcast comes with video. You get to see the whole package, baby.
I'm glad that you guys could join me today, by the way.
I'm happy to be
I've been down there for 4 hours.
So. I wasn't the last one here.
No. Oddly enough, actually.
I got 2 or 3 phone calls in while you were doing whatever you were doing.
I came down the elevator. I'm hustling like, oh my gosh, I'm really late. I got to get in there. You're just out here pacing the hallway on the phone.
I ran into him in the hall, and he had this look of disgust on his face. Like,
I sent you guys a note, and I said I didn't have my phone with me, and I sent you all an email. I'm like, sorry guys, we're running about 10 minutes late. He writes back, wow.
I saw it, and I opened the door and looked out there. He's leaned up against the wall and just looked completely disgusted.
I was ready to go. To preface that, I did push us back. We were supposed to record this morning, but I had had important things to do this morning, like write this script.
More important than us.
Yeah, the script is more important.
That's okay.
But but then even Jason was like, "Oh man, that's gonna be tough to move it back." This morning,
it's a busy day.
Well, if we can't. All right, I'll figure it out.
It is a busy day.
And then this afternoon, he was like, "I'm gonna be about 10 minutes late." I was like, "Oh, okay, all right."
Well, listen, I know these details may sound boring, and they may be. I don't know, but the point is, we write this whole thing every week in the midst of everything else that's going on. And sometimes it just gets busy, and it's hard. It's hard to sit down and do it.
And sometimes the script gets written an hour before the show goes on.
Let me be very clear: we don't write any of this part.
No,
It's totally just whatever comes in our heads.
I think everybody gets that.
Okay, that's pretty clear.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was something I was real worried about.
Getting that across. Oh my gosh, it's been a week. It's been a busy week. It's Thursday, August 22nd. My goodness, if you were outside early or really mid morning
This morning at 8 o'clock, it felt great.
Man, I mean, it was 63 or something at my house when I looked. But let's not be fooled, because false fall, like there's going to be at least two of them.
Yeah, we are in the state of Arkansas, so it will change abruptly.
And it's pretty,
True.
it looks to be fairly warm out there.
And
now.
that's
I know
already
it's
been the
gonna warm up.
case. The last, 2 weeks, or was it 3 weeks ago, it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then, boom, the next week, it was high 90s. 100.
Yeah.
And then now this week, we've got, 80s?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but I think it was
It's like
going to be like
85.
60 or maybe even 59 last night here in Little Rock. So if you go
Absolutely.
up to the north part of the state, I mean, they got in the 50s last
Yeah.
night. And as three dads on the show, we know that we can appreciate the rest that the thermostat and the air conditioner has gotten.
I did
over
notice
the
my
past
bill
couple
last month was much lower than it was in July.
Man,
What is that, a Family Guy episode? They're making fun of dads, and they just instinctively have this sixth sense, and they know.
If you touch that thing.
Don't touch that thermometer. Who touched the thermometer?
I know. Ours is on a schedule. And if I hear that thing running, I'm like, hold up. Somebody's been on it. I don't like that.
Well, we got one of those fancy thermostats that you can set the time, and it senses you're at home, and it'll turn on to a certain temperature and all that. So that prevents that situation a little bit, but
also gives away all your data. But whatever.
yeah, I got so much data.
Where's your tin hat?
Yeah. You need to get your armadillo helmet back out.
We
Jason.
have the smart thermostats in our house. I mean, they don't track your timing, but I set them on a schedule or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I've got a good idea. If
Somebody's
that air is
watching me
kicked
through my
on and
thermostat, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Big,
they are.
Big brother thermostat.
They are. We also have like 4 Alexas in my house, so who am I to talk?
Yeah, we do too. They still creep me out though.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Who am I to talk?
My son does not like Alexa. Like when it starts talking, he doesn't know what's going on. He's only about 2 years old.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
But we can't use it when he's around.
That's funny.
Yeah,
He just kind
it's
of.
just like it's a magic little box that's not supposed to be talking.
The next stage of that though is he'll figure out how to play Baby Shark on that thing.
Oh,
or
yeah.
something
absolutely.
like that, and it's over.
It is over
at that point.
Yeah. Our granddaughter, the oldest one, she, for the longest time, she thought it was Allegra. And she was trying to figure out how to call it, and she was wired. She kept running around the house just going, Allegra. And it wouldn't do anything. She got frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very cute.
Yeah, my kiddo, she's in 3rd grade now. And now when I ask mine, what time is it or what is the weather, what's the temperature outside or whatever, it tells me and then plays some ditty, some music at the end.
Yep.
Didn't used to do that. She just laughs when it does that. I'm like, you made this I don't know how you made it happen. I don't know how you knew to make it happen, but she did that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The kids can have fun with those things. That's
Yeah.
for
Oh, yeah.
sure.
Definitely.
But anyway, anything else going on?
No, we had our fantasy football draft last night.
Oh, we did, didn't
Yeah,
we?
what'd you think of it? We did an auction draft for the first time this year.
We've discussed this at length, and my opinion still stands. I would like to go back to the other way.
Poor Jason.
And I know you set it up that way in one way to prevent auto drafting.
Well,
and I think you can say, hey, look, you can't auto draft. So if you want to do that, you can't play.
Yeah.
And still go back to the
main
traditional
reason.
way. But
Main reason, what all you said was true to some extent, but
Sure.
the main reason was that our league is so big that the competitiveness really falls off after the top 3 or 4 teams
kind of get set in place.
Yeah, during a draft, and because all the players, let's just use running backs for example. There's only so many of them in the league.
Yeah.
So they're all gone by the time they get to the 18th or 15th or even the 10th person in the draft.
Yeah.
Or team, I should say. So doing an auction draft, and that was a big complaint in the last 2 seasons. The auction draft, you can't complain about that anymore because if you want that player, you can spend money to get that player.
Yeah.
So
fair.
it's all on you. Plus, I like participation, live, in-person participation in the draft. It brings people together, builds morale, it's community, and it keeps people like Mr. Brown here from auto drafting without coming to the draft.
Now that I've said the negative,
Yeah.
I owe a positive to you.
Okay. The pizza?
18 people. The Federation is not a group of a lot of employees.
No.
To have 18 people participate actively, to be talking, joking, a couple people brought their kids up,
Yep.
and just to have that camaraderie with the people who you work with. Every department was represented.
Yep.
In most cases, with multiple people per department. I think that, my friend, is priceless.
Yeah.
To spend that time with your colleagues. So many people, how many hours a week do we spend together as coworkers, no matter where you work?
Yeah.
And to have that sort of time to just be friends.
Yeah.
Just kind of hang out outside of your work, because we did it after hours and we broke bread. We had some delicious pizza. And,
We did.
Anyway, that I think really, like I said, is priceless. So
Yeah, I agree.
Congrats to you. You do an excellent job keeping this. It's not a easy show to keep on the road. I can tell you that. It's
It's trying to
I don't envy you at all.
trying to herd cats.
You're herding cats,
to be
buddy.
honest with you, and trying to get y'all to pay your dues. is tough.
Some of us are worse.
I was leaving.
I would think the economists would be worse. Well, I would say. Well, I'm not going to call him out, but majority, if not everybody, but one has paid all their league dues.
Yeah.
I won't announce who that is, but
Yeah. Well,
this guy
hopefully
paid his dues, and so did this guy.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I didn't say anything. And I will say this, and then we'll move on. Last year's winner, Brian, I think you'll
that's
find
pretty
this
cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
Last year's winner, John walks in last night. None of us knew this was happening. He walks in with a trophy, a real deal, block bottom, bronze football, and name plaques for each year's winners.
Oh, wow.
And last year's winner dedicated their winnings to purchase a pass around type trophy
Nice.
for the league. So
Very nice.
They
Kudos.
came to me before and asked if they could do that.
That's great.
So I thought that was pretty
it's
cool.
kind of fun. So anyway, it's really a cool.
That's really cool.
a cool thing to, and I love having that. So
Yeah.
thanks for investing.
What do you
the
think
time.
about your team this year?
It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm not going to do very good. I left $60-something fake dollars on the table.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Just by the way, in an auction draft, you do not want to not spend all your money.
yeah. So
You want to use every dollar that you're given.
there's
Now,
that.
this is monopoly money. This is fake money.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
I will say I don't participate. I've never done any of the draft or anything,
Yeah.
but it is quite entertaining just hearing all the banter and
It was
and all
going
the
in our
back and
hall this
forth.
morning,
Oh,
wasn't it?
the
Already.
smack talk that goes down
'Cause
is
there's,
quite funny.
Office neighbors in our hallway are playing each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
First week.
Are they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me and another person from my department. There's 4 divisions in the group or in the league, so I've tried to put the departments in their own divisions, but it's hard because of the math, and math's hard for me. But but we've had to, for the most part, everybody's in their department division.
Yeah.
So I kind of helped. I built that purposely to try to build bragging rights between the departments and.
Yeah.
Very, very smart.
That's
and
great.
it's working well. I love that you put that much
I'm
thought
glad
into it.
somebody finally acknowledged my extreme intelligence. Thank you.
Sorry to laugh out loud at that.
Yeah.
It struck me funny.
Yeah, well, it is funny. It's funny. Hey, in about 15 minutes, when we get to the bottom of this, I want you to remind him of his extreme intelligence.
Yeah, well, that's enough about me and my achievements in life
There we go.
and how great I am.
All right. Well, y'all didn't come here to listen to us talk about fantasy football, but we do enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. As you can tell, we like doing the show together. We like working together for the most part. 3 days a week. But anyway. All right, well, let's get on to some news and some information that may be helpful to you. So we're going to talk a lot about the Arkansas crop this week here, but wouldn't be a normal show if we didn't start with some progress and quality. So corn quality in the state is 76% good to excellent. We lost what we made up last week in quality, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. 76% of that crop is matured. That's a 20-point increase for the second consecutive week. So corn crop continues to progress and move on. Rice quality is at 76% good to excellent. Also, that slipped a little bit since last week as well. 96% of that of the crop is headed out. And I will tell you, we published a story on Friday, last Friday, with, I believe, Jill Edwards taking us on the combine for her rice harvest and talk a little bit about what she's got going on. So go check that out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, anywhere you want to.
Did she have one of those, what are those blue rice combine headers? They strip the grain off the stalk. I forgot the name of them.
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated with those things.
Matthew, I think, is your guy to ask for that. He was the one that spent the most time out there.
Okay.
So cotton quality, 76%. There's a theme going here. Good to excellent, holding steady since last week. 38% of the bolls are opening. That's up another 10% since last week. And then peanut quality is at 90% good to excellent, slight increase over last week. The peanut crop here in Arkansas seems to excel or continues to excel seemingly. Vegetable quality is about 49% good to excellent. We seem to be holding steady right there, right under that 50% mark. Pasture quality is 44% good to excellent, another drop over last week. I talked to a farmer yesterday, and I said, hey, look, here's what we've been reporting on crop quality, or pasture quality on the show.
Yeah.
Tell me why you think that is. And it is mostly the dry weather.
Yeah.
In his part of the state, they got rain on Sunday or Monday, and that was the first rain they had in 30 days.
That was kind of about the time we got very little here in it.
Yeah. I thought we were going to get hammered on Sunday.
It just
and
seems like
it missed us.
It'd get to Little Rock and then just peter out or go around. Or
Same, yeah. Just wrapping this up, we are still seeing some burn bans, specifically in Sevier and Dallas counties as of yesterday. I haven't checked today. Even after that rain over the weekend, the lower half of the state is rated a moderate wildfire risk right now. So we need rain. There's none in the forecast, I don't think, at least not for Little Rock for this week or next.
Well, to be a little optimistic, I guess I shouldn't say this, but it's not as bad as what it was, 2 years ago? Last 2 years or something like that?
Yeah.
We've had that severe drought.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that bad, but I think, I think we could stand some rain.
Yeah.
Though, knock the dust down a little bit.
Well, cool. I guess we can talk about the farmers market a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was still open. Or...
It is technically
it was technically
closed.
I remember now.
We're in the process of calling winners.
Oh, yeah.
And telling them that they've won. So if you do get a random phone call from Little Rock, answer it. I've had a few people that hadn't answered yet, so I got to go back and call them. But everybody seems really, really excited about it. So am I. So we'll announce a full list of all the winners, their company names, their offerings. Some of them are wanting to do some pre-order stuff. So we may attach that to the social media posts so that you can go visit their website, pre-order whatever you want, and then pick it up at the farmers market.
Shipping. Oh, that's interesting. That'll help them plan for inventory.
Yeah,
probably
especially
too.
I think mostly for our people that are going to be selling frozen beef or pork.
Okay.
Because last year we kind of had an issue. I wouldn't call it an issue per se, but they didn't get the sales they thought they were going to get at the farmers market with their meat. but I think that was mainly because people traveled in all across the state.
Yeah, where are you going to
Didn't
put
bring
it?
ice chest, didn't have a freezer.
Yeah.
But the exposure they got increased their amount of sales overall because of just being there. So I think a lot of them are thinking about doing pre-order stuff so that they know exactly what to bring, maybe bring a little bit more in case anybody else wants something.
Yeah.
So it should be a good time. So be looking out for that social media post. And if you are one of the people that applied, please answer my phone call.
I have an idea. Are you up for an idea on that, on the
absolutely.
phone call deal?
I'm a team
I
player.
wonder, do you think if Ed McMahon's number is available, you could get it?
We've talked about it, McMahon, before on the show.
I'm just saying, if you call from Publishers Clearinghouse,
yeah,
I think they'd be more willing to answer.
Oh man, I'd put a suit on and get me a big check, and
That's it.
yeah.
I'm just saying, let that spin around. Let that rattle around a little bit.
Congratulations, you're going to be in the farmers market.
I'm just saying.
Now, I will say that a lot of people that I've talked to are almost that excited about being in it, and that just means that we're doing a good thing here.
Yeah,
it's
excellent.
important.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Well, do you want to kick us off on some news?
Yeah, I mean, news is kind of a touchy deal with me. I have mixed feelings because I hardly ever have any good news.
That's true.
And today is no different.
Okay.
So after the last few years, issues within international logistics have plagued the agricultural industry, but it's been more focused on oceanic shipping routes and other waterways. Remember the Mississippi River and all those issues we had last year?
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, 2024 isn't immune to the struggle either. However, this issue is stemming from a different mode of transportation. It was confirmed early this morning that 10,000 Canadian rail workers have gone on strike amid a stalemate in contract negotiations with two major railroads that has halted rail shipments within the country's borders. Disputes and negotiations consist of rest periods for employees as well as scheduling and employee relocation. The two companies that are involved are Canadian National and Canadian Pacific Kansas City. They're the two largest rail companies in the country of Canada.
Okay.
Although the strike only involves Canadian workers, the halt of rail movement across the border will cause a ripple effect across the border into the U.S. The strike will hinder the transportation of agricultural exports being shipped out of Canadian ports, as well as large volumes of fertilizer imports that originate in Canada. Across the North American supply chain, we could see delivery delays, shortages, and commodity price volatility. I should note that kind of sounds like this is going to be, in fact, going to be the effect, but it's really just how long is the strike going to be. The longer it is, the bigger negative impact it'll be.
Okay,
just to clear that up. So Daniel Munch of American Farm Bureau wrote a very detailed article on the strike and the potential impacts across the ag industry. And Daniel cited the recent USDA Agricultural Marketing Service Grain Transportation Report that summarized U.S. Canadian agricultural trade, which emphasizes agricultural products moved by rail. So in 2023 alone, $28.2 billion of U.S. agricultural products were moved by, agricultural products were exported to Canada, making Canada the third largest destination for ag exports behind China and Mexico. Also in 2023, the U.S. imported $40.1 billion of Canadian agricultural products, making Canada the second largest origin of U.S. ag imports behind Mexico. Canada is also ranked as the fourth largest market for U.S. soybean meal and rice, and the fifth largest for corn. Daniel also mentions that portions of U.S. products exported into Canada are also re-exported to other markets.
Yeah.
So those markets would include Asia and Oceania. I'm not particularly sure what that area is. Maybe the Philippines, the islands around Japan.
Yeah.
But showing possibilities for even deeper disruptions. What stands out most to me in this article is the fact that we depend heavily on imported Canadian fertilizer. USDA reported that in 2023, from all sources, the U.S. imported 13 million tons of potash, with 85% originating in Canada, who is also a primary source of nitrogen-based fertilizer imports. USDA also reported that just over 25% of all U.S. nitrogen imports came from Canada in 2023. This corresponded to 3.1 million tons of nitrogen-based fertilizers, including 1.2 million tons of anhydrous ammonia, 510,000 tons of urea, and 420,000 tons of urea ammonia nitrate. So of this imported fertilizer from Canada, 85% of it is transported by rail. So let that sink in. According to Daniel, this has a great potential to severely jeopardize farmers' ability to secure essential inputs critical for crop growth. He highlights nitrogen, given its importance to many crops, and a large portion of it traditionally applied in the fall. This could cause a perfect storm impacting future crop yields. Another thing another aspect that I think we should be mindful of is we currently have higher existing stocks of grain than this time last year, which is due to farmers storing grain, hoping for better prices, while also many 2024 crops projected to have record yields. With rail disruptions and minimal storage options in the coming months, farmers and marketers alike will be seeking other less efficient and costly transportation options, such as trucking. So that's a lot of detail, a lot of numbers. But if you want more detail on the issue, you can find Daniel's article at fb.org, which stands for Farm Bureau. And I should also note that this was very ag-specific in our inputs in the industry, but this is going to impact a lot of other industries and sectors across the country.
Yeah. Shout out to the policy development process. We were in a meeting where this came up the other day. And
Really?
that was the first I'd heard of it.
Oh, yeah, we were in Pulaski County.
Yeah, we were in Pulaski County, and somebody brought it up, and the potash specifically.
I didn't realize Canada was such a huge producer of potash.
Yeah, I didn't either. And he said that, and I'm like, you kind of look into that a little bit. And,
But I didn't know who produced potash either until
that's fair.
the other day, or this morning.
That's fair. But anyway, so that, I mean, and I've heard a couple of other news sources report on this, including, of course, more of that consumer-facing impact.
Well, you know how strikes go; they don't just abruptly,
they don't resolve
very quickly
overnight,
resolve. You know, and so it's there's going to be a lot of time between now and whenever this gets completed.
What's interesting, I'm gonna tie a thread real quick as I get to my story, but. You think about last week, we did the WASDE report, which showed these huge ending stocks and then the potential for a bumper crop. And I'm probably using that term maybe that a little lightly.
Yeah.
Coming off in harvest this year. And now we see this issue kind of popping up. So that's all these things sort of tie together.
Yeah. And you think about that conversation we had with a reporter the other day, and interviewed a farmer. But crop prices are low, input prices are high, so it's going to be very difficult to even break even this year.
Yep.
And with this, with the ending stocks and the bumper crops that could potentially come out this year, it's hard for me to see this getting better. Not just the rail issue, but this whole trying to make a profit in row crop farming right now. Next year is going to be difficult too.
I think I said it last week, and I was quoting an analyst that I heard say big crops just get bigger, and that's what we're going to talk about right here. So we've got some record-setting news out of the state soybean crop today, courtesy of Mary Hightower at the U of A Division of Ag. Arkansas is on track to break its years-old record, or I guess overall record for soybean yield, as the National Agriculture Statistics Service on Monday forecast a statewide 57 bushel per acre average yield, up 3 bushels per acre from last year. NASS, part of the USDA, forecast Arkansas soybean production at 172 million bushels. That's up 8% from last year. Harvested acreage is expected to be 70,000 acres higher than last year at just over 3 million bushels. 3 million acres. Planted. Mary talked to Jeremy Ross, extension soybean agronomist, certainly not a stranger to our crowd from the division, and he said he was very surprised to see the 57 bushel per acre projection. Ross noted the majority of the soybean crop was early this year, and with that, he was expecting yields similar or slightly below our state average of 54 bushels per acre, and he went on to note, and I quote, "Farmers are going to need every bushel they can get to combat how much soybean prices have dropped in the last 12 months." We've talked a lot about that here. Looking down the farm a bit, Mary reports that corn production was forecasted a little over 90 million bushels, down 41% from last year. However, yield is expected to average 186 bushels per acre. That's up 3 bushels from last year. NASS revised the planted acres downward by 120,000 acres to right around 500,000. Harvested acres here in the state are also expected to drop from 600,000 to 485,000. Cotton production was expected to rise in Arkansas by 21% to 1.65 million bales, which is 288,000 bales higher than last year. That's significant.
Yeah.
Yields are expected to be 57 pounds per acre, lower than last year, forecast at a little over 1,200 pounds of lint. Harvested acres were expected to be up 135,000 acres from last year to 640,000 acres. The forecast for peanuts is mixed, with production expected to be 18% higher than last year to 233 million pounds. However, yield is forecasted to be down 500 pounds per acre from last year to 5,300 pounds per acre. The forecast for harvested acreage has been revised upward to 44,000 acres from 34,000, up about 10,000 acres. That may be the most peanuts we've ever grown in the state.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to work off memory here. Certainly Heath will correct us if it's not. Looking at rice, everything is up in the August forecast. Production is forecast at 109 million hundredweight, up 2% from last year. The yield for all rice is forecast at 7,600 pounds per acre, up 50 pounds from last year. The forecast for harvested acres rose 30,000 acres to 1.43 million acres. Rounding out with hay, NASS has forecast Arkansas's hay production to be a little over 2.5 million tons, up 22% over last year. The yield is forecast to average 2.2 tons per acre, up about 0.3 of a ton from last year. Producers expect to harvest a little over 1 million acres of hay, excluding alfalfa, up 60,000 acres from 2023. A lot of numbers in there.
Yeah. I'm wondering what's going on with peanuts.
I don't know.
So if everything else is up, did we plant less?
No, I tell you, 44,000 acres seems significant to me. I could be wrong. Maybe I just am misremembering. And the crop quality is good as we've continued to report each week. I mean, we're at 90% good to excellent in peanuts. So I'm not sure, but I want to run back up to the soybean conversation. So you mentioned the story that you helped with yesterday. So KRK went out and talked to Arkansas Farm Bureau board member Joe Thrash about what he's seeing on his farm. And then they came back and had a conversation with you sort of offline about this. And can you summarize it in a sentence? I mean, you got high stocks or high yield potential.
I guess what I told that reporter is that, I focus on agriculture, so I know it better than other industries. And I say that because I know that in agriculture, it takes a lot of different variables to make the one complete impact of why something is. So it's hard to really point your finger at one specific thing. But, I think one thing that stands out is over the last however many years it's been that we've been making advancements in technology and seed breeding, if you want to call it that. I think this is a testament to where we've come from and where we are today with that work. If these yields are actually what they are, I mean, I don't remember the last time, as long as I've been paying attention to it, that we've had 2 back-to-back years potentially going to be state record yields in soybeans. So there's that. So that with that is a high, potentially going to be a higher supply of soybeans. And what I told the reporter is I like to always rely on my education and say that's a supply and demand thing. But there's issues just like the Mississippi River last year, or the Suez Canal, or the Panama Canal. We weren't able to move a lot of product back then, so that could be potentially the reason why we have higher stocks. And another point, we export a lot of well over half of our soybean production in the state to other countries, but the other 40% or whatever it is that stays in the country goes to biofuels and animal feed and food oil and stuff like that. But I don't know if it's a huge impact, but I think it does play a little bit of a factor. We've got a smaller cattle herd across the nation this year.
You said that yesterday, and that really stood out to me.
And that's a cyclical market. Like, it's a roller coaster. Every 10 years, it's going to either dip down or dip up. And we're kind of in the bottom of that valley right now with the number of head of cattle. But you would like to think, in theory, that number of cattle is going to require less feed, right?
That's pretty simple.
If they require less feed, that means there's less demand for it, and the price for that feed is going to, or the ingredients that go into that feed, the price for those ingredients is going to go down too. That's just a theory. I haven't read anything that says that's true.
Yeah.
But there's just that, and just export markets have been a challenge.
Yeah.
And that's something that soybeans and corn as well rely on quite a bit. And I always say, and I've said it here on this show before, if we didn't have those export markets, you wouldn't have the production we have in the U.S.
Yeah.
Half of it would be gone.
Yeah.
You know, or they would find somewhere else to send it, and that would be a new crazy place that we don't know anything about today.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm rambling at this point, but
you got high input costs, high production.
Yeah.
Right. A
Yeah.
lot of inventory in the field.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of focusing on supply, but the high input costs right now, whether you want to blame that on COVID or international conflicts in the past or just general inflation, that it is what it is.
Yeah. And then you combine that with low commodity prices.
Yeah.
In some cases 10-year lows.
We just have an abundant supply of soybeans across the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and we also, that has also contributed to the fact, and I've said it here before, is Brazil has surpassed us in soybean and corn production. And like I've said before, they're producing acreage. They have the quantity, whereas we have the quality.
Yeah.
They also produce that crop at a cheaper price.
Yep.
So other countries may be looking to Brazil to supply them with what they need because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And they may not be concerned about the quality of that product so much as maybe we think they should be.
We could talk about this for a long time, but we've seen other countries. I've got one in mind that have had a tendency to blend.
Yeah.
They'll buy some good quality, some bad quality, put it together to kind of try and get a deal. But anyway.
Hopefully they're not blending in treated soybean seed.
Yeah. Hopefully not. I don't know. Maybe I made that up.
Well, you want to take a short break and hear about how you, Jason, and all you other people out there can keep Arkansas roads safe?
Let's do it.
Arkansas farmers and ranchers work 7 days a week. That means when you hit the road, you may be sharing it with farm equipment, especially if you're traveling along rural roads and county highways. Farm equipment moves slower than our pickup trucks and minivans. They may not have the safety lights and turn signals of our family vehicles either. The trucks and tractors moving down the road need extra room to make turns, cross bridges, and move through intersections too. We all get in a hurry sometimes, but it's important that we all stay safe, no matter if we're headed to buy groceries or grow them. So next time you're cruising past a pasture or field, keep an eye out for farmers. They'll be sure to keep an eye out for you too. If we all work together, we can make sure Arkansas is cultivating safe roads.
All right. I've got one more story for today.
Okay.
In case you didn't know, we only do 2 stories a piece on this show. So
Generally
easy.
speaking.
Don't have to count too high here. But the Arkansas Department of Agriculture has announced the opening of the Alliance Landowner Conservation Practices Pilot Program. USDA, in cooperation with Virginia Tech University and state and local partners, is incentivizing and rewarding farmers and ranchers in Arkansas, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Virginia for adopting agricultural practices that focus on conservation. Under a 3-year, $80 million pilot program, each pilot state will help producers demonstrate the value of stewardship practices, offering payments of $100 per acre, or animal unit. The Arkansas pilot will be led by the Arkansas Department of Agriculture with support from the KKAC organization, Arkansas Rice Federation, and the Agricultural Council of Arkansas. Arkansas farmers in the counties of Arkansas, Cleveland, Drew, Jefferson, Lincoln, and St. Francis are open to apply for the program. Producers may apply with up to 2 FSA numbers per designated operator. Payments will go to the FSA designated operator or be divided between the primary operator and up to 1 co-applicant per FSA number. Eligible producers will. I'm going to list these off, so don't fall asleep on me.
Okay.
Eligible producers will enroll in a minimum of 10 acres or animal units at an operation located within one of the approved participating districts, have a verified Farm Service Agency or FSA number, confirm that the land enrolled in in the practice or practices requested will not also be enrolled in a USDA conservation program or other program associated with the USDA's Partnerships for Climate Smart Commodities sponsored grant program. They will confirm that the land enrolled in the practices requested will not be duly enrolled in a cost share program. Confirm that the producer will have control of the land for the term of the producer agreement. And lastly, the producer must consent to report total greenhouse gas benefits using COMET, Field Print, and or Rules 2. That's the number 2. Mm-hmm. Also, there are several qualifying practices listed on their website, but I don't really have the time today to list all those out.
Sure.
However, as I mentioned, the project will pay producers $100 per acre or animal unit per year. Only one practice can be applied per acre or animal unit. Producers will be able to install as many practices as they choose, as long as each practice occurs in different acres or animal units across the farm. Producers will receive 50% of the payment up front, 25% after implementation of the verification, and 25% after final reporting. Underserved producers may be eligible for 100% upfront payment. All payments will be issued by Virginia Tech. And lastly, if you are a farmer in any of these counties I mentioned and are interested in applying for the program, you can contact Megan Perkins at the Arkansas Department of Agriculture or visit alliance4csa.org for more details, and you can also apply on that website.
Yeah, and I will tell you too, I believe we have something about this up on our social media channels as of this afternoon or this morning. So if you have any more questions or want to have that link to apply, all that is there too.
And I apologize for being so tongue-tied there on those last two.
Hey, man, it's all good. All right, an update on the Arkansas Water Plan work that's been going on the last several months. When it comes to this topic, we've covered many updates on the show, and the news today is significant to the project. Phase 1 of the update is complete. To give some background for our listeners here, the Arkansas Water Plan is our comprehensive program for the orderly development and management of water and related land resources according to the Arkansas Department of Ag. In other words, it's the state policy for water. In 2023, Governor Sanders signed an executive order calling for an update to the state water plan, and that's kind of where all this kicked off. As I mentioned earlier, phase 1 of the work is complete according to the governor's office and the Ag Department. During this first phase, data collected yielded the development of several goals for the plan update. Among those included providing drinking water that supports public health and well-being, providing water that supports environmental and economic benefits to the state and supports interstate agreements, using the best available science, data, tools, practices, and technologies to support water resources, planning and management for current and future needs, maintaining and improving water supply, wastewater, stormwater, and flood control infrastructure, and planning for future infrastructure needs, maintaining, protecting, and improving water quality to support designated uses of water bodies, and then finally reducing the impacts of future flooding events on people, property, infrastructure, industry, agriculture, and the environment. So those are the goals. The second and last phase of the update is expected to take 2 years, according to the reporting from Mary Hennigan of the Arkansas Advocate, but the original executive order stated that an interim report should be completed by the end of this year. Again, according to the Arkansas Advocate, phase 2 comes with a $3 million plus dollar price tag, with the two most expensive line items there being the plan update itself and the development of the first ever Arkansas flood plan. Also happening during phase 2 will be assessments of existing infrastructure and water availability. Specific water usage issues that are up for analysis include population and economic projections, drinking water, industrial, mining, thermoelectric power, crop irrigation, livestock, duck hunting and habitat maintenance, and fish and wildlife support. The updated Arkansas water plan is expected to include mitigation strategies, a water reuse action plan, groundwater treatment methods, and groundwater recharges. The Arkansas flood plan is similarly expected to include proposed flood mitigation solutions and strategies. So a lot to unpack in phase one of that project. You know, we talked about it here on the show. We talked about the public hearings. Encourage you guys to participate. Seeing agriculture, aspects of agriculture mentioned in here several times, you know, surely is encouraging.
What is the kind of timeline? Do you know how many phases there are?
Yeah, so phase one started, actually, she announced it on August 21st. So yesterday was the 1 year anniversary, and they released this plan on Tuesday. So I guess technically they were a day ahead. And then phase two is the final phase. There's 2 years allowed to complete that. Yeah. But the executive order did sort of direct for an interim plan to be issued by December 31st, 2024. Okay. So let's say a quarter of the way into that phase two, so half of the year, they've got to put out an interim plan, even though they'll have a year and a half or so work left to do.
Okay, so we're 2 years.
Yeah, we're 2 years from now, I think, before there's a final plan. This thing hasn't been updated since 2014. It was 10 years old. Now, it was supposed to carry us to 2050, but because of some of the growth and changes that we've seen in the state, really, that's why the governor explained she was wanting to go ahead and take an early look at it now. So, it was supposed to go from 2014 to 2050, but we're taking a look at it 10 years in. Okay. So, anyhow. A lot going on there, and that'll be important to everybody who's listening to this. It will impact you one way or another.
Cool.
Oh, big breath.
I got another story. I got some numbers I want to
talk about. To hold you out. He's stiff-arming you.
Look, I may not play fantasy football.
You want to talk about baseball stats?
But I do play.
Stump the host.
I like fantasy football better.
Of course you do.
Not better than that soundbite.
No, not at all.
You want to be very clear about that.
Do you think you could do that every week before the football games start? And then we can just
absolutely
play it on
I want to have him do my voicemail. Now I'll go with voicemail.
This is Jason Brown.
Fantasy football.
we need to.
If we don't launch the draft next year with that.
Da 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 da. Man, why don't we have one of those?
You need a robot voice.
I do. Yeah,
that's what I think you need. No, that's not a robot. I wish there was a robot effect he could put on you. Anyway.
Okay, I'll turn it off
now.
All
right, let's get into it.
We've had our fun with it.
You get to pick.
Oh, do I? I guess you did pick last week.
Yeah.
Did you?
I did. I picked first. I went with General first.
He moved his computer. I just noticed that.
I'm trying to throw you guys off a little bit today.
You've been in here for 3 hours. You just now saw that?
I'll refrain from asking all the questions in the voice.
I guess I focused more up there during Stump the Host.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So right now on the board, science, entertainment, arts, general. I can refresh, but that's what I've got on there for right now. So what do you think?
I don't know. I kind of want to beat myself up a little bit and go to science.
Mm-hmm. You're crazy. You're crazy, man. I like you. You're crazy.
Crazy, man.
Okay. What animal lives in a lodge?
In a lodge? A beaver?
Yes. Yes.
Dude. Very impressive.
How about that? I didn't even give you a chance to answer.
I thought it was going to keep going. What animal lives in a
How
lodge?
about
Boom.
your boy over here?
Yeah.
Living up to his extreme intelligent comment.
All right.
Yeah.
So you want to continue on this board?
It's him, not me.
We'll keep the board. We're not going to keep science.
All right.
We're going to take advantage of entertainment.
Entertainment.
I've never gotten one of those.
Who hosted the TV show This Old House for the first 10 seasons?
Bob Vila.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Love that show.
Apparently, I'm giving you easy ones this week. So,
that
what would you like this
time?
It was. It was.
I don't know.
So general arts science.
Let's go with general.
I'm so glad you picked that one.
Man.
What U.S. president put a Twinkie in the country's Millennium Time capsule?
Oh, there's a hint.
Millennium Time capsule. Was it so when the millennia came through, that was all Y2K stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So that would have been W or that was before Obama, so it definitely wasn't Al Gore.
It was a Twinkie.
Twinkies have been around for a while. But do you know the answer?
Yeah, I know.
Man, I'm trying to think how old I was. I got that Y2K clock that counted down to Y2K.
Yeah. Do you know what year Y2K happened?
That would have been that one year, 2000.
That should have been one of the questions.
It's in the name. It's in the name.
So if we go back 2000, it'd have to be George W. Bush, right?
No.
Billy C.
Yep.
There you go.
But
The man from
Technically, you answered twice. So
Hope. Yeah.
but I got it right.
Yes.
That counts a half a point.
it's Arkansas's own.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm taking bets.
Uh-huh.
What would you like to wager that thing will still be intact when they open it?
It'll look
open
just
and
like a
eat it.
Twinkie.
Yeah,
You could
exactly.
open and eat it for sure.
Yeah, someone will eat it.
Oh, that makes me think of that tradition of freezing the top layer of your wedding cake and
absolutely.
eating it a year
Yeah.
later. Oh,
Yeah.
God, that was gross.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
That's some mean trick. Should we stop there?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right.
Stop while you're
Billy C,
ahead.
huh?
You got three of them.
We got
I mean,
3 out of 3. We've
that's
never
right.
been 100%.
I guess I was in
right.
kindergarten when he
He
first
got
got
first
in office.
elected in 92.
92. Yeah. I was in Miss Lisa's class. in
Yeah.
kindergarten.
I still slightly feel a Twinkie I ate 10 years ago. So
And you're making my stomach twirl a little bit.
no doubt.
Let's cut out the Twinkie conversation. Old Twinkie.
Sponge cake.
It's
baby.
a millennia old.
All right. That wraps up the news for this week. Sorry, I'm just thinking about the fact that history has to come with Arkansas being attached. That wraps up the news for this week.
Arkansas and Twinkies.
Thanks for following along with the Arkansas iCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
Remember, you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find video episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the audio version however you listen to podcasts.
And make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes. The Arkansas iCast is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown.
And I'm Mr. McMinn.
We'll see you next week.